Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Tips and Tricks Tuesday, and as you can see there's a finished picture here. Now we're not going to finish this picture because it's already finished, but this was the previous week's background that we did. I went through and I showed you how you can use stencils to do a background. This was the stencil work that I did. I did finish it offline, and then on Wednesday we colored the picture over top of it. This is an ink background. It's done with the water drop inks. These inks from June 6th. And basically I just took a stencil, went over the stencil with the June 6 inks and a brush, and put the stencil down, let it dry, then put it through my printer. Now I'm going to show you today how to do that without using ink. We're going to use gel crayon on an actual book. So we're going to take the Hugs book here, because we still need to do our hug for today. And we're doing this hug here, which is Alice in Wonderland with the White Rabbit. Now I know there's a little bit of grass and whatnot in the background, but what we can do is we can take a stencil and we can do the background around the rabbit and Alice with the gel crayon, and do an entire background very simply, very easily, without having any issues or taking a lot of time, and it'll still look very, very pretty. So that's what we're going to do today. And I'm just going to show you how to do that on something that's already colored, because it is a lot more difficult to maintain that stencil work without going over top of the rabbit and Alice and everything else. It just makes it a little bit harder to deal with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this down, and I'm just going to go around them and do the stencil work around them throughout the background. And I've got 3 different stencils here to choose from. So if I didn't like that one, I could of course do this one. This one makes seeing Alice and the rabbit a lot easier. And I'll get it centered. There's a big hole in the center, so this does make it a lot easier to see where that stencil is going to go. This one here is a lot more delicate, a lot more detailed, but also you can also see where it's going to go. So you just, when you put your stencil down, look at the center it on the object that you want in the center, and then just go around it. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to use one of these stencils, and we're going to go around the rabbit. What we're going to do first, after we color the rabbit and Alice, is we're going to go over the background itself with a purple, and then we're going to do the stencil work in gold. And of course today, because B is for September, we will be using a pencil that starts with B, and we will be using the Blick Studios pencils. So let's get started on that. I'm going to switch you on over to the close-up so that you can see Alice and the rabbit. And we're going to start on Alice here, because why not? And I'm going to start with a little bit of salmon pink. And I do apologize for the train. It is going through and it's loud. I know it's noisy. Just looking for... So what I'm going to do, because I don't have the right tone of light purple in this set is I'm going to take my skin tone from Ann Shen in this light purple color. So we're going to use that first, and then we will use the salmon pink. And then from the salmon pink, we will go to beige, and then we will finish it off with Crimson Lake 1, I do believe. Either Crimson Lake 1 or Blush Pink. One of those two. But I'm going to take out Crimson Lake 1 because I think it's the one I'm going to use. Okay, so we're going to start with this pinky purple color. And we're just going to go into the shadowy areas. Areas that are going to have a little bit more darker coloring on her face, as well as her arms. If this paper will accept it. And I could have stuck with the Burt Funerals, I suppose, but I want to do justice to the hashtag. So it's hashtag B is for September. And the reason for the hashtag is put out by Corey from Colorfully Optimistic. And the reason for the hashtag is to so that you can use different things that are in your collections, and not forget things. Things that may have been put on a shelf or something a little while ago that you have forgotten that you have or haven't used in a long time. Okay, so I've got the purpley pink down. Now we're going to go in with the salmon pink. I'm just going to sharpen this up because it's a very, very small detail area. And I don't want a thick area. So I'm just going to go gently from the edge of that purpley pink that I put out. And I'm just going to draw that edge out a little bit. And I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible so that we can get to the background areas. This is a hashtag, the Hug a Day, Hug a Day September. There we go. Tongue work now. Words are hard. So Hug a Day September is a hashtag put out by Amazon Tammy, Ashley Colors, Shell Arty, and Angie Clarkson. And they told me about the Hug a Day September, well, the Hug a Day. I miss the September part. And I bought the book and started on my Hugs a Day, thinking that they had already started, and they had not. So I jumped the gun. So I have decided not to just do it in September. I will be continuing a Hug a Day every day until every hug in this book is complete. The original hashtag, all credit for that must go to Amazon Tammy, Shell Arty, Ashley Colors, and Angie Clarkson, because it was their idea. I did jump the gun and start mine before I was supposed to. I got all excited. I got the book and I went, ooh, they're so cute. I need to color them. So yeah, that was my doing. So instead of just doing a Hug a Day in September, which I will be following their Hug a Day September, I will be continuing with the hugs until every hug in this book is complete. So I just went over things with and brought it out a little bit with the beige, and now we're going to go over it with the Crimson Lake one and fill that in. And draw that all together. I think this is just a little bit too light. I'm going to actually turn on the light here so I can actually see what I'm doing. And so that you can actually see what I'm doing. Alright, so I'm going to actually take a little bit of the peach, no, a little bit of this one, which is a blush pink. And we're going to go in here into her cheek area. Yes, I know I just rubbed that with my finger, but I did do that intentionally. I wasn't doing it to dust anything off. I was doing it to blend things together a little bit. All right. Just going to blend that all together. Okay, so we've got her skin tone done. Now we're going to do her dress, and we're going to do her dress in a pretty blue. So let's start with this blue in those shadowy areas. This blue is Filatio blue, and I'm probably saying that wrong, but that's okay. Now the reason why you do the picture first is so that you don't end up rubbing off your background if you're going to use a pastel or that sort of thing. If you're going to use ink, of course you can do your background first, unless you're going to do it in a color that the colors that you're using for the picture won't cover it up. So if in case you go over onto the picture itself, use different colors that you know that the colors that you're going to use, like I did on the other one, are colors that will blend into the color, even though I printed right on top of it. Same thing goes if you're doing it after you color or on a coloring book that is already printed. You just have to make sure that whatever colors you're choosing for your background are not going to be so bright and so outrageous that the color you're using to color with won't cover it up. So now we're going to use a light blue. Let's see if I have the right one. So this is ice blue. Is that the one I want? Yeah. So this is ice blue. And I'm just going right over top of that other blue, blending it together. Now I could use a blending pencil for this if I found that the pencils didn't blend themselves quite nicely. But Blicks are pretty good for that. They do blend together quite well. And I'm just using a fairly light touch because of the type of paper that is in here. I don't want to tear the paper with the pencil or push the pencil through the paper. And I do have a piece of paper behind it here to make sure that the ink from the other pages does not go on to the next picture. Alright. Now I want to put a little bit deeper of a blue in there. So I'm going to take some permanent blue and I'm just going to do some really deep areas with the permanent blue. Just to make them stand out a little bit better. That's a little better. And sometimes you just have to adjust, you know. And that's the great thing about colored pencils is that it doesn't take much to adjust your colors unless you've, gone through and burnished it so bad that you can't change that color. However, that's what erasers are for, so. Okay, so that looks better. Alright, now we're going to take some yellows. And we want this one. Normally I would typically do a 3 color combination, but because this is so small, I'm just limiting it to 2. Otherwise, you just end up making a big old mess. So I've got dark yellow, and I'm just going through and doing the border and the shadow areas. Of her dress and her cuffs. Now up here on her neck as well is a ruffle. Alright, now we're going to take light yellow. The great thing about Blix is their names are quite simple. Very easy to remember. And do the light yellow on the edges here. Alright. Now there's a bit of a indent here. That needs to be shown a little bit better. Just trying to make sure that I have enough of that dark yellow on there to show the indent of the dress there, the bottom of the skirt. All right, now we're going to do the stockings. And I'm just going through and putting in the shadow areas for the stockings. Like so. That time I wouldn't. I should have used my brush, but I didn't. Now, as I get to the center area, I'm lightening up my touch on the pencil to keep that area lighter. And then we're going to take the permanent blue and we're going to do the dark lines on her stockings. Yes, I know I'm getting caught up in the details, but that's okay. All right. And then we're going to do her hair. So we're going to actually use cream. And then we're going to take some burnt ochre and some brown. I think that's maybe some dark ochre. Sorry about the train. So we're going to use some dark ochre and some brown. Different flicks in her hair, so I'm just going to sharpen these up. Alright, so let's start with the dark. I hope everyone had a enjoyable long weekend. I think the trains were off for the weekend too. 'Cause I don't remember any of them going by yesterday. And today they're going by quite a bit. Now I must say the Blick Studio pencils are not doing as well as the Brute Funers did on this paper, but they seem to be okay. Okay, and then we're going to take some dark ochre and we're just going to come out from that brown. Snapperoonies. These pencils are really soft, very easy to break, especially when you have long, sharp tips on them. And then we're going to go back in with cream and blend it all together. And then we're going to go in with the blue and do her hairband. Not that anybody can see it, but I know I did it. All right. Now we're going to do, I'm trying to think of the colors. I'm pretty sure, let's see. My Instagram is going crazy. Trying to figure out the best colors for the rabbit's jacket. So it seems that they're all different colors. So I guess it's just up to me. So blue. A lot of people have it in blue or red. So I think I will do this part blue and this part red. So we're going to do the outer coat in blue. So I'm taking a little bit of Flathio blue here. Actually, I'm going to do it in the Flathio blue, so I want a darker blue for... So let's go with cobalt blue. For his tails on his coat, not his tail. And all the shadow areas. Alright. The reason why I went with cobalt blue is because it is a different blue than I used on her, so it's going to stand out and not look like it's the same garment. Just putting in a shadow for her hand. And the curvatures and different folds in his jacket here. Alright. And then we're going to take the Falatio. Oh, missed one. And then we're going to take the Falatio blue and we're just going to gently go over top of it. Now I'm not doing this hard. I'm just blending those colors together and giving that shadow a chance to shine through. Letting those light areas look light. Not as much detail in this one as yesterday's, but still quite a bit of detail. I'm just loving these little hugs. They make me so happy. And it makes me feel accomplished, that I've accomplished something. Even though it's just a small picture, it gives me the relaxation and the feeling of accomplishment for getting even just a small picture done, when sometimes I can't even get, when I can't get a coloring done. Being able to get at least a hug a day done makes me feel very good. Lately I've been spending a lot of my time, when not doing hugs, re-swatching all my pencils, so that is where most of my time has been going. I did get one of my 2B colors finished, and I did fix the Benny Blue picture I was working on Saturday. Or on Wednesday, Wednesday or Saturday. Saturday I started the Benny Blue with marker, and I didn't like the way it looked. So I redid it in pencil, and it looks much better. Make sure I don't color her sleeve. And now I'm going to take a little bit of a darker blue and go with a bit of an indigo and just go into some of those really dark areas. And try to make sure that I'm still on camera. I'm just going to darken up some of those really, really dark areas where the folds are really deep. Like I said, this paper is not liking these pencils very much, but they are working somewhat. Not as well as I'd like them to, but that's okay. Alright, so we've got the outer part of his jacket done. We've got to do the vest, and then we got to do him. So let's do the vest. We're going to do the vest in red. So I need a dark red and a light red. So let's grab carmine and cherry. So the carmine red is going to be our dark red. Now make sure that you don't cover this area here, which is his chain to his pocket watch. And get that shadow area in there. Just in case it taken over. Okay, and then we're going to take some gold and we're going to do his pocket watch area here, the chain to his pocket watch, as well as his buttons. Excuse me. Alright, now we're going to take some gray, and I want cool gray number 3. And a little bit of cool gray number 8. Alright, sharpen these up. Okay, so I'm going to start with the cool gray number 8. And I'm just going to go make sure that I'm in camera here. And I'm going to go in to those darker areas here. Not doing all the shadow areas because I'm going to use the lighter tone in there as well, but all those really dark areas where his clothes are and where she's shadowing. Looks like such a nice hug. Like, really, who can resist bunny hugs? Even if it is from the White Rabbit. And of course I wasn't on screen for that, so I apologize. Sharpen this up a little bit. And I just got her shoes to do and the white on the rabbit. First I'm just going to put in a little bit of light gray, blending that dark gray out a little bit. If I can stop snapping pencils, it'd be good. Seems I have decided I'm the queen of pencil snaps today. And down here on his tail. And over here. Like I said, we're just going to bring out those shadows a little bit. Alright, now we're going to go over it with white. I know there's white. There it is. It's like, where's my white? Then we're going to get up into his face. And then we're going to take a bit of pink and do his nose and in his ears. Well, in his ear. Just got one showing, so. And then we're going to take a bit of the beige and fill it in. Now we're going to take black and do her shoes. First we're going to add a little bit of blue. And then we're going to do a bit of black on the black areas. Okay, so there is our hug finished. Now we're going to do the background. Now this is where it's very important to, if I can find it, there it is, to use your blender stick. The blender stick is a wax-based stick, and a lot of times the gel crayon and that sort of thing, it will give it a coating over top of the pencil that a lot of these things don't stick to. Plus it makes everything look pretty. So I'm just going to go over the whole thing with the blender stick, make sure it's all blended together nice and perfect here. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just removing any tooth from the paper or anything from the paper that in the area that I've colored that gel stick might stick to. You know, it may lay over top of it, but I can easily remove it. Where if the tooth of the paper was still there or there wasn't a bit of protection there, you may find that you can't remove that very well. Trying to not get blue mixed into everything here. Make sure I'm still on camera. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our purple, we're going to put it down on our Caran d'Ache thing here, palette, and I'm going to take quite a bit of purple because I want to do the whole background around them with the purple. So we're going to take the brush here and we're going to fill that in with the purple. And what we're going to do is we're just going to gently fill in that space around them with the purple. Now if it gets on the clothes and whatnot, that's fine. We'll be dealing with that here in just a moment. I'm just trying to get it as close as possible without, you know, completely going over top. Fill up the brush a little bit more. Okay, so you gotta be careful that you don't bend the page. And I'm just pressing this gel stick into the tooth of the page. So I'm going to switch you over to the full screen here and turn off the light so you can see what we've done. So I've taken this purple and I've just covered the whole page with it. Now I'm going to stay on the full screen here so you can see what I'm doing. Let's move some of these pencils out of the way. I'll put those over there for now. I know I should be putting them in my holder, but I'm too lazy. Now I'm going to grab my wet wipes here. Now that we've got the purple down, I'm going to grab a wet wipe and we're going to clean the brush. So all I'm doing to clean the brush, to remove some of that purple or all of that purple, is I'm just rubbing it on the wet wipe and it just cleans it right off. I'm going to do the same thing on the palette here. I've got some other ones that I should have washed off already, but I haven't yet. And of course, soap and water will get the majority of that off. Now we're going to choose one of these three. And I kind of like this one. No, because it's too much space. So I kind of like this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this one down. I'm going to hold it in place the best way I can. So as you can see, I've got the center, well, probably not see because I'm not under you. I've got the center of the template right in the center of the picture. Now I've got to make sure that I have this going the right direction. Otherwise it will lift up and cause issues. It's going to lift up anyway because of the edge of the book, but we will work with it. So now we're just going to put as much of this gold on here as possible in a nice thick layer. Don't worry too much about the chunkies. The brush will break it up. So we've got the gold on there, nice big globs of it. And then we're going to take our brush and we're going to fill in the brush. Okay, so our brush is full now. Now here's the difficult part. See where his ears are and her head is. So now you got to go this way and try not to go over top of the rabbit or her, but still get the edge on the page. So it looks like they're standing in front of the area that has the design. Okay, this is more difficult because now I gotta hold this in place, because if I let this go it's going to slide. And we don't want that, because if it slides or moves, you end up losing your position and you get a weird look to your stencil. But there is our stenciled background. So we're going to just take a little bit, make sure that we've got everything around them done. Then we're going to take an eraser. So where's my eraser? I just had it. There it is. And we're going to erase this area. And any areas that may have gone over the dress or the rabbit. I think I did pretty good avoiding the rabbit. Okay, so now just take a bit of a brush and we'll take a little bit of green and do the grass. And the shadow areas down here. And then we'll take this lighter green here. Like so. Now if we wanted to, we could take this and we could put it right in the middle between them there. And just fill in that area as well, so that it goes all the way around them. Now you just take your eraser, make sure that all areas are off of them. Now you could do this right over top of them. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to erase. You know, a little bit of erasing is easy enough, but when you have to use you know, a lot of erasing, it can be a little bit tedious and annoying. So I'm going to switch it back over to the close-up so you can see. So as you can see, we have placed now anything that is out of place, and just move. And of course you can erase if you need to. And there is our hug of the day and Alice in Wonderland's Alice and the White Rabbit. Switch it back over to the main and show you an up close. So as you can see, we were able to put an entire background down right behind them fairly easily without damaging them in particular. And that was the lesson today, is how to use a stencil in a coloring book behind a picture that's already printed and make it look like it's still behind them. So because I was able to bring it quite close to them, any areas that I went over, of course, I was able to erase. And because I made sure that the area in the center and up underneath different areas did get some sort of gold pattern, it makes it look like they're standing in front of that design. All right, guys, and that is our lesson for today. I hope that you have enjoyed this Tips and Tricks Tuesday. The tip and trick today is doing a background on a picture without disturbing the picture. Of course, tomorrow is our Work in Progress Wednesday, and we have a special guest coming on the channel. This special guest is a artist. He is a sketch artist, as well as a little bit of a colorist. His wife is a colorist, and he's very new to the YouTube channel that he has created. And I just wanted to give him a little bit of a lift up in our community because his work is absolutely wonderful. And I will be coloring one of his pieces tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. I will be posting about that very shortly. So make sure that you ring the bell, and I hope to see you all there. Thank you all very much for joining me. Of course, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell if you haven't already done so. I do put out a video every day. I'll go through the hugs now. I think this is dry enough to turn the page. These wonderful little things were made for me by Amazon Tammy, and they are just absolutely cool. Little bookmarks. Love them. So this is day 7. I gotta put the date on there. So this is day 7, which is of course September 7th, 2021. Day 7 and picture number 20 out of our 100 days of hugs. So this is today's, and this one here is from yesterday. So we have the Jesters and the Alice in Wonderland. And then the day before, this is day number 5, which is our Wizards. It's a wizardly hug. And then day number 4, we did the ballerina hug. And day number 3, we did the troll hug. And day number 2 was our Batman and Catwoman hug. And of course, day number 1 was our monster hug. So those are all of our hugs for Hug-A-Day September. And we have done more hugs than that because we have done 20 hugs. So here is our first hug. And of course, our wonderful cat and owl hug, which says one word frees us of all the weight and pain of life. And that word is love by Solosthenes. I can't even say it. And then we have our daddy hug. And then we have our panda hug. And we have our flamingo hug and our cousin it hug. And of course, our catfish hug. Words are easy like the wind. Faithful friends are hard to find, by William Shakespeare. Then we have our nature hug and our lady and gentleman hug. And our unicorn hug. I love this hug. I think it turned out so nice. And then our mama bear hug with our polar bears and her babies. And of course, as you saw, this one here is number 3 in our Hug-A-Day September. And that one says, I would always rather be happy than dignified. And then we have our bug hug. And of course, our bear hug with our wonderful little black bear hugging on his dolly. And of course, we have our ballerina hug. And I will be going back through and filling in the rest of these hugs. Now, as you can see, I got some on there because this is not quite dry. So I'm just going to quickly erase that. And that's all it is a quick eraser. And that is no longer there. All right. And of course, the next hug, let's see, is this wonderful hug, which is Geppetto and Pinocchio. So that will be tomorrow's hug. So until then, of course, remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have found this educational, informational, and at least a little bit fun. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until tomorrow, bye-bye for now.